Hello and welcome to Own the Tone, Leading from an Acoustic Guitar Volume 1. My name is Eddie Cullen and I'm going to walk you through some basic principles of playing the acoustic guitar. Hopefully this will help to show you some of our philosophies and principles behind being a solo lead, as well as playing with teams of various sizes. Let's jump right in. Now, first of all, we want to talk about why. When we learn an instrument, it is forged through countless hours of learning and practicing and repeating that process over and over again. And at times it can feel like a burden, and we forget the reason why we picked up the instrument in the first place, the potential that it had for creativity and exploration to really suit us best in being able to express ourselves musically in the ways that we thought and we feel. Much like when we first learn how to drive, it takes work and practice, but with that we gain experience, we gain proficiency, and we find ourselves being able to go to places that we could never go before. All right, let's talk about gear. We'll dive into the tools that we have at our disposal, starting with the acoustic guitar. Now, when you're first getting into it, it can seem a little bit overwhelming, from all of the different types of wood, to the spacing, to the bracing, to the body shapes. It can feel like a crazy, mixed up world. But what you're gonna hear over and over again from me is to just sit down and try it out. Now, the beauty of these instruments are they're made from wood, which is a living element. And because of that, not a single one of them is gonna be exactly the same as another. And so you might have a guitar that's made from the same factory by the same machine or same hand, and they can come out sounding very different from its brother or sister that was made just that same day. And so what you want to do is sit down with each instrument, first do some research, figure out what guitars you like, what styles you think are good, what tones sound good to your ear, and then start doing some research and finding out where you can find those and play those yourself. I don't recommend buying something outright without playing it first. There's been plenty of times where there's been a recommendation or you've seen something that someone else has played, and then you go and acquire that guitar thinking it's going to be the same, and there's just something about it that just doesn't sit right. That's why it's so important to make sure you put the hours, the time in, the investment really, to sit down with something, try it, see if it fits well in your hands, see if it sounds good to your ears before moving forward on it. Now for myself, it's been a journey. I started off with a certain style of guitar, a certain tone, and it has changed and evolved over the years. And where I find myself now is with this guitar right here. And this is an OM style acoustic guitar that's built by a private maker in Michigan. His name is Mike Franks, fantastic guy. And he uses Martin guitar specifications to craft the guitars. But because he's a private builder, he's able to get his hands on some master grade wood, specifically ones that aren't available in factories and these bigger companies, to try and craft the best instrument possible. He hand makes these himself. And it sounds all super fancy and crazy, but really what I did is I started hearing tones from one of my favorite guitar players, John Mayer, and I saw that he was using a guitar like this. Eric Clapton also has a signature series OM style of guitar. And so I played them. I went to as many guitar shops as I possibly could and found as many guitars that were similar to this and played them over and over and over again. I tried different brands, I tried different iterations, different years and all that stuff, and have been able to find something that's working well for me in the style that I play. Because it's different for each one of us, the way that we play. Certain guitars will suit them better than others. So I found that this works well for me now. It is an OM style guitar, which, as you can see here, allows me to be able to play fingerstyle as well as strum really hard, and it has sort of that middle balance. Now, if you're just getting started, a guitar that I recommend to a lot of people is a Dreadnought, which is a little bit bigger, it's a little bit rounder in its tone. It might not give you as much freedom or flexibility in using certain voicings or certain fingerstyle play, but what it'll do is it'll give you the best, most natural, warm, rounded sound if you're strumming with either a team or by yourself. And so what I'll do is I'll walk through some of those things as well, maybe put some links as well in the description for you guys to check that out. Now that you have your guitar, let's talk about the tools that you're going to need if you're playing at a venue where things are going to be amplified and plugged in. Now, I don't like having a lot of equipment with me and bringing a lot of stuff, but having an understanding of the things that you'll need will help you best know what to ask for and what to have ready whenever you go to any of these places. Now, the first thing that you want is a tuner, and these range in their price and in their functionality. Anything from free tuner apps that you can put on your phones or devices to floorboard tuners, ones that you have to have battery powered or plugged in that go on a pedal board. And you can use either one, but the key to it is making sure that your instrument is in tune, making sure that your strings still have a lot of life in them, that they're not old and that they're not falling out of tune really easily, that your guitar has been well cared for. All of those things are vital and essential. And then to be able to grab a tuner to make sure that everything is as it should be. Now, I have a few different tuners. I have some that go in my case or my gig bag or in sort of my go-to emergency essentials kit that I have that I'll show you in a bit. But I also have one on my floorboard, and the two that are really most prominent are the Boss TU3 tuner or the TC Electronics Polytune. And they have a few different versions of there. Both of them are fantastic tuners. Both of them work really well. If you are looking to start to comprise a pedal board to take with you, which is a good thing to have, that's definitely one of the first things you want to have is a tuner. The next thing is a direct instrument box or a DI box. Now, this also plays a big part because this is telling the signal from your guitar how to be transferred then to the amplification system. So if you have a really good guitar, if you've got good cables, if things are tuned well, but your direct box is maybe subpar or not working as well as it should be, then you're going to find that the tone that's sent out, what you're wanting to be communicated, is far less than what was intended. So being able to get a good direct box is going to help you out. There's a multitude of those as well. One that I personally prefer using is made by a company called LR Baggs, LRBAGGS, and it is their Para DI. It's this big clunky looking brown box that has EQ all over it. It can feel kind of intimidating for some, but I found that that actually works really well in just taking the natural sound of a guitar and presenting that as best as possible. There's a few other options that we'll also show you guys and have available at the end in the link in the description, but that's probably the second thing that you want to have is a good DI box. Now from there, you really don't need much else when you're playing acoustic. I have a hybrid board because I play electric guitar in addition to acoustic guitar. I keep it all on one board and just make subtle switches here and there. But if you're looking for some things just to sort of add some ambience, some color, give you some creative freedom, then the next thing that I would say is a reverb pedal that can add just a little bit of color. The reason why I would not recommend that as a requirement, as something as a staple on every board, is that you can start to lose the value of the natural tonality of a guitar when you start adding effects. It's meant to enhance, it's meant to just sort of present as best as possible, but what it can sometimes do is take away. So the more things that you have competing, it's almost like throwing spices into a dish. You can do them really well to enhance whatever the main ingredient is supposed to be, or if you put too much of it, it starts to lose some of that flavor, some of that value. So just be very careful. Again, take the time, do some research, play, experiment in your rehearsal times and your practice times, and you'll find what works best for you. You can also incorporate a volume pedal. I have one of those as well, but mostly because I have an electric rig, and that way I'm able to tune without it sending a signal out to the amplification system. But really having as basic of a setup as possible is going to give you the least amount of things to have to contend with, to have to be mindful of, or troubleshoot in case there's an issue. And that'll get you going as quickly and efficiently as possible. Now with that, what you're also going to want to keep in mind is to have really good cables, ones that will not fail you, ones that conduct well, and bring those with you and have those available with you as well. Because what you want to do whenever you show up at a venue is have everything that you would need as an instrumentalist to get the sound that's produced from your instrument to the amplification system. That's going to be the goal. Knowing the things that you have, the things that you need, it's going to help you work that out well and set you up for success. All right, let's talk about what's in my bag. Now you might have a backpack or a gig bag or a pedal board bag or something like that. I highly recommend having some type of small travel container to be able to put some emergency supplies in as an acoustic guitar player. In mine, I have the following items, and I've just learned to acquire these things over the years, mostly because I found myself needing them and not having them. But this is kind of the basics of the things that I have in my emergency supply kit. So first and foremost is you're gonna wanna have extra sets of strings. Okay, this is gonna be super, super important in case you break a string. Hopefully that won't happen. You have at least 1 to 2 sets extra that are suited for your guitar that are ready to go. And a cardinal sin is a lot of times we'll have a set, we'll use one because of whatever emergency, and we won't replenish. Make sure anytime you're about to go play somewhere, you have at least 1 to 2 sets available to you. So that's first and foremost. Second, I'll have a battery powered tuner, just in case something on my board isn't working, I go to place, power goes down, whatever it is, I can still tune. I have this, and I have a tuner on my phone, so I try to be double, triple ready. Third, I'll have a really simple string winder and cutter. This will help me in case I need to change over something really quick. I can get through that, and I won't have to worry about taking the time to tune it. That's just something that I found to be helpful. I have a capo. Now, I'll walk through how to play in different keys without a capo as much as possible, but you still might find yourself in situations where you're playing in a key maybe you're not as comfortable with, or it's a half step up or down, and having a capo available is going to be really, really helpful. I love these capos by G7th. As you can see, it looks like a weird space contraption, but these are pressure release ones, and so they have a little button on the back, but it actually just holds by you pressing down on the neck. I love it. I feel like it helps to keep the most consistent pressure on, as if you were barring it with your finger. That I found it actually suits me, works well, best for me. I put extra guitar picks in here, and then I also have learned to put breath mints in there. I don't know about you, but I'm usually hitting a cup of coffee or something right before I'm jumping in, and just to have that, because the engagement people usually want to talk to you, whoever's playing an instrument at some point in time, and maybe it's just a good rule of thumb, acoustic player or not. And those are the basics that I keep in my travel bag to go. If I have a pedal board or something like that, I'll keep extra 1/4-inch cables or patch cables, as well as batteries if my tuners have battery capabilities, as well as my direct box or your acoustic guitar. Whatever batteries your acoustic guitar takes, make sure you have extra sets of those as well. If it's a 9-volt, keep a couple of those. If it's double A's, keep a couple sets of those. Make sure you have those available, because those are the things that you sort of forget about until you need them. So make sure you have that list ready, prepped, set, and keep it with you. Having it be as tight and compact as possible usually helps out. If you could even get most of the stuff into your acoustic guitar case, then you're going to find yourself in a good situation. Well, that's it for Own the Tone, Leading from an Acoustic Guitar Volume 1. Thank you guys so much for checking this out. Links to the videos that were mentioned are in the description below. We hope that this has been helpful, and we'll see you again real soon.